Information coming in from Minnesota. The organization has officially moved on from its general manager, shifting away from analytics. A former Denver executive is now the primary candidate to return and lead this front office. Like and subscribe to track this major leadership update. You need to see how this impacts the team immediately.
We are tracking significant movement coming out of Eagan, Minnesota regarding the leadership structure of the Vikings. Sources confirm that the organization has officially parted ways with General Manager Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, effectively ending the experiment of the so-called competitive rebuild. This decision comes after an internal review of the last few seasons, where ownership felt the roster construction simply was not matching the timeline required to compete for a Super Bowl. But the bigger story developing right now involves the immediate frontrunner to replace him. My understanding is that former Vikings executive and former Denver Broncos general manager George Paton is squarely at the center of the Viking search process. This is a name that will be incredibly familiar to fans in the Twin Cities, and for good reason. Paton spent over a decade working alongside Rick Spielman in the Vikings front office before leaving for Denver in 2021. During his previous tenure in Minnesota, he was instrumental in scouting and drafting the core players that defined the Mike Zimmer era. The Wilf family has always held Paton in extremely high regard, viewing him as one of the league's premier talent evaluators. The context here is critical. Adofo-Mensah was brought in to provide an analytical edge, a Wall Street approach to value and asset management. While the process was sound in theory, the results on the field, specifically regarding the 2022 draft class and the lack of blue-chip defensive talent, left ownership wanting a return to traditional football operations. The firing of Adofo-Mensah signals a philosophical pivot away from pure analytics and back toward a scouting-first mentality. Paton represents stability and a known quantity. He knows the building, he knows the ownership group, and perhaps most importantly, he understands the specific culture of the NFC North. While his time in Denver was turbulent, largely defined by the Russell Wilson trade, his reputation as a grinder who finds talent in the middle rounds remains intact. The Vikings are looking to correct course quickly, and bringing back a seasoned executive who helped build their best rosters of the last decade is the logical first step.
When you look at the implications of a potential George Paton return, you have to start with the roster philosophy. Under Adofo-Mensah, we saw a strategy often focused on trade downs and accumulation of draft capital to play the odds. If Paton takes the reins, expect to shift back to conviction drafting, identifying specific physical traits and character profiles and moving up to get them. This impacts the locker room immediately because it changes the evaluation criteria for who stays and who goes. Paton has historically favored athleticism and explosive traits over the raw production models that analytics often favor. Furthermore, we have to consider the relationship with head coach Kevin O'Connell. O'Connell needs a partner who can deliver personnel that fits his scheme immediately, rather than projects that might develop 2 years down the road. The synergy between GM and head coach was a talking point during the Adofo-Mensah era, and Paton's experience suggests he knows how to support a coach's vision without overstepping into scheme management. From a salary cap perspective, the Vikings are entering a crucial window with Justin Jefferson's massive extension on the books and a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy potentially taking over. The general manager's job is no longer about tearing it down. It is about maximizing this specific 3-year window while the quarterback is cheap. Paton's aggressive nature, proven by his moves in Denver, suggests he won't be afraid to swing big for veteran help to shore up the defensive line or the secondary. My verdict on this situation is that it is a safety play by the Will family, but a sensible one. They are trading the high-variance, theoretical upside of Adofo-Mensah for the high-floor, scouting reliability of George Paton. It is an admission that the previous process didn't work. While Paton carries baggage from the Denver fallout, his track record in Minnesota is undeniable. This is a move to stabilize the franchise and compete right now. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you trust Paton to fix the mistakes of the last 2 years, or is this a step backward? Subscribe to the channel now for ongoing updates as this search finalizes.